This is a question based on chapter 33, the verse which follows Khatam al-Nabiyyin. I think it's 42. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم يا أيها الذين آمنوا اذكروا الله ذكرا كثيرا وسبحوه بكرة وأصيلا. Ô vous qui croyez, souvenez-vous d'Allah beaucoup et glorifiez-le matin et soir.
So the English translation of these two verses is as follows: O ye who believe, remember Allah with much remembrance and glorify Him morning and evening.
And the question is, Huzur, what is the link between this verse and the verse which has preceded it about Khatam al-Nabiyyin?
In fact, the link can become evident when you consider the prayer of Zakaria, Hazrat Zakaria. And he was given the glad tidings that he will bear a son. So the same words, but very similar to these, were mentioned there. Sabbahu bukratam wasila. So that means Allah has granted a great glad tidings to the people. So the meaning of the Khatam al-Nabiyyin turns out to be exactly opposite. It means that Allah will grant Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam a spiritual son, and for that all who love Muhammad Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, they should pray for the grant of a spiritual son. So that has already been granted, mashallah.
The verse to which Huzur Ayyadahullah Ta'ala bin Aziz has referred is verse number 42 from chapter 3, Surah Al-Imran of the Holy Quran, and that is as follows: A'udhu billahi minash shaitanir rajeem, bismillahir rahmanir rahim. Qala rabbi ij'al li aya, qala ayatuka alla tukallima an-nasa salasata ayyamin illa ramza wazkur rabbaka kaseeran wasabbih bil ashiyyi wal ibkar. The translation is, he said, my Lord, appoint a token for me. He replied, thy token shall be that thou shalt not speak to men for 3 days except by signs, and remember thy Lord much and glorify Him in the evening and in the early morning.
And when he addressed his people from the Mihrab, what did he tell them to do? I think you have got the wrong reference. I had in mind another reference. When he used practically the same words, that the whole community of believers of his time must join him in this prayer. Sabbahu bukratan wasila.
Maybe in Surah Maryam.
May I translate in the meantime?
The verse Huzur has pointed out is in Surah Maryam, which is chapter number 19, and the verse number in Surah Maryam is 11. I read out the Arabic one. A'udhu billahi minash shaitanir rajeem, bismillahir rahmanir rahim. Qala rabbi ij'al li aya, qala ayatuka alla tukallima an-nasa salasa layalin sawiya fa kharaja ala qawmihi min al-mihrab fa awha ilayhim an sabbihu bukratan wa ashiya. Translation is, he said, my Lord, appoint for me a token. God said, thy token is that thou shalt not speak to anyone for 3 full days and nights. Then he came forth unto his people from the chamber and asked them by signs to glorify God in the morning and in the evening.
So that relates to we are telling about a son to be born. In case of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, it was a spiritual son to be born, which already has been born by the grace of Allah. You see, the whole context supports this, because Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam was blamed for not having a son by the enemy, and the answer to that was ما كان محمد أبا أحد من رجالكم. You're right, he is not a father of people like you. So the answer should have been, he is the father of much higher people. So if you say that was the answer, that was the only answer, that is in fact admitting defeat. Yes, you're quite right. But the table had to be turned against them. And in the interpretation which I have offered, with reference to Zakaria, that seems to be the only explanation.